off the bench, the starter, had no points in the first half. He gets on the score sheet for the first time tonight with 2. 32-20, lead large as it's been for Roane State. It's 12. 18-20 left here in the first half of play. Pass stolen away by Warren. Warren quickly up the floor to Perry. Off the glass to King Warren, and it's a slam. King Warren with authority. He's got 8 on the night, and Devin Perry threw it off the glass. Warren knew what to do with it. 14-point lead for Roane State. 18 minutes left here in the first half.
Happy New Year and welcome to the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show. I'm Sports Information Director Donnie Hall. Today we'll get caught up on the Raiders and Lady Raiders basketball seasons, and then we'll have some one-on-one with coaches Alan Holt and David Harnish. A little later in our Raiders Spotlight segment, you'll meet a student athlete who had ailments so significant as a baby that doctors said he would likely never be able to walk or talk. Now, 18 years later, he overcame the odds and is a college athlete. Right now, let's get things started with a sports update. On Saturday, the Raiders basketball team returned to the hardwood against Mock Valley Prep. It's one of those games designed to knock the rust off after a short Christmas break. The Raiders took the opening tip and jumped out to a 13-0 advantage before giving up 14 unanswered points and the lead. Fortunately, they were able to right the ship and took a 53-40 lead to the locker room at halftime. Ultimately, the Raiders would win the contest 112-88. Head coach Alan Holt said after the game it wasn't pretty, but this is why we have these tune-up games.
Yeah, pretty disappointed. I thought we had a really good week of practice coming into this, and boy, it sure didn't look like it. Really struggled defensively, really struggled turning the ball over. Things we'd gotten pretty good at going into the break. So it's good we got this tune-up game because we've got to be much, much better going into conference play next week.
There was a total of 71 fouls whistled in the game, and 7 players fouled out of the contest. Kevon Blankenship and Devin Perry each tallied 20 for the Raiders, and Jeremy Miller had 15, including 9 second-half free throws. A win is a win. This one improved the Raiders to 8-5 on the season. Now, going back to when the holiday break began, freshman Sebastian Tudor was ranked number 4 in the conference in scoring with 17.2 points per game. King Warren was also 4th in the league in rebounding with 9.6 boards per contest. And Kevon Blankenship was 2nd overall in the conference in three-point shooting, connecting on 45% of his attempts. Now, for the Lady Raiders, they went into the break with a 12-1 record. The sole loss that they suffered came at the hands of Chattanooga State. In the conference, the women are currently ranked 1st in free throw percentage and steals per game. They are 2nd in field goal percentage and 3rd in points per game and rebounds. The team is led by third-year sophomore Kirby Brown, who tops the team in points per game, field goal percentage, rebounds, and blocked shots per game. Finally, the Major League Baseball season does not open for another 80 days. But Roane State Raiders baseball begins in only 19 days. That's right, snow could still be in the forecast when the team takes the field for the first time in 2023. They'll be at Spartanburg Methodist College on January 28th to get the season started. And folks, that's your sports update. We'll be back with more right after this. Powered by Raider Vision, you're watching the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show. Welcome back to the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show. Joining me now is men's basketball coach Alan Holt, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Coach, in just a moment, we're going to go to a second half with Coach Harnish. But right now, I've got a few questions I wanted to get with you about this season with the Raiders. You went into the Christmas break with a 3-2 conference mark, only 2 games out of first place. What kind of grade would you give the team during that first half?
I would say probably around a B. I think our best basketball is well ahead of us, but we definitely didn't have a bad semester either. Ending up at 7-5 going into the break. Played a really tough non-conference schedule and had some really big conference games. Thought overall we played pretty well, but then again, there's still plenty of room to improve, and I think we're starting to make those steps going into the second semester right now.
Well, between injuries and other personnel issues, the early part of the season, it could have been disastrous for you. So what are your keys to success moving forward, and who are your go-to guys going to be?
I think everybody kind of knows who our big-time guys are at this point. I mean, Blankenship, Sebastian Tador, and Kearius Warren, all three have kind of been our staples throughout the first semester. But I think the guys that are going to be the key to our success are all the other guys. Is Amari Young going to be the guy we know he can be? Is Isaiah Poore going to continue to bring what he brings on the defensive end of the floor, and then prove that what we see every day in practice he can start to do come game time. He's really proven that he can be a playmaker. Now it's just time for that to translate over to the floor. Harper Neal proven that he can be one of the best shooters in our league. I mean, it's all I think our most important guys are the guys that don't always get all the praise and accolades that everybody gets.
Well, talking about that early season adversity, with you lost some players to injuries, you had had other issues come up. How did the team respond to those adversities?
I think we handled them really well. I think Chattanooga State game being a big indicator of kind of how we faced adversity. I mean, they were up pretty much the whole game, got it up to about 20, 22, I believe, at one point. Our guys, act like nothing's wrong and just come storming back, cut it back to single digits late, make it a really competitive game when there probably shouldn't have been any reason for us to even be in the game, how we started out. I think our guys have handled adversity really well. It's kind of Snead State, same thing. We go to their place, get beat pretty handily due to injury, and come back the next game and beat them by 20 plus at our place. I think we really respond well when we're punched in the face.
Well, you're the defending conference champions. What do you need to do is it more important for you to be to finish in first or to finish strong as the second half of the season begins?
I think it's more finish strong. Nobody really cares if you win the regular season or not at our level because you don't go to the national tournament for winning the regular season. I think the biggest key is to peak at the right time and be playing your best basketball come tournament time. And I think we've had a really good history of doing that here. And hopefully we can continue to do that this year.
Speaking of the national tournament, you guys, I've said this before, it took 50 years and an overtime for the Raiders to get to the national tournament. And you did it in your first year as a head coach. What are some of your recollections of being at the big dance?
Just the atmosphere was incredible. Like when you go out to eat, at people's grandmothers stopping us at Olive Garden or wherever, asking when we played. It's their favorite time of the year. They can't wait to come watch us play the next day. And the crowd, we played at, I think it was 10:30 in the morning. It was almost a packed house. Just a great environment. I think still with our returners, we still kind of had a bad taste in our mouth a little bit too at the same time because we know we didn't perform nearly as well as we could have and still were fairly competitive at the national tournament.
Well, it was an amazing accomplishment for you and for the team. But let's talk about you for just a moment. What a lot of people don't know about you is that you're an East Tennessee guy through and through. You went to Anderson County High School, played basketball there, played college ball at Bryan College just down the road in Dayton. And then right after that, you came here and worked as an assistant coach for 6 years before becoming the head coach. What do you feel about basketball in East Tennessee, and how does it feel to be part of the fabric of East Tennessee athletics?
It's great. I mean, East Tennessee, I'm born and raised here. I mean, I was born in Cleveland, Tennessee, and then we moved just north of Knoxville to Lake City, Tennessee. It's kind of always been home, so I feel a lot of pride in, being a staple in the basketball area for us. I mean, Lake City is a super small town, but it's kind of known for basketball success with Jody Wright at Fulton, who's won multiple state championships from there. Shelly Sexton Collier, the girls coach at Webb, has won tons of state championships at Webb. So it kind of feels good to be like the new up and coming guy out of Lake City, I guess. But it's great. I love getting to help guys from this area because it's kind of an under recruited area in basketball. So when we have East Tennessee guys, I love helping them, love trying to get them to the next level and help build up their level of recruitment since it's a super under-recruited area of basketball in the state of Tennessee.
Well, we're glad to have you at Roane State, and hopefully you'll be Grand Marshal of the Lake City Christmas Parade next year. But right now we're going to take a break, and then we will be back with our second half of one-on-one with women's head coach David Harnish. Right now, let's see what's going on around the league.
In women's basketball, at 4-1 in the conference, the Roane State Lady Raiders are currently in third place, just one game behind undefeated Chattanooga State and Walters State. Cleveland State is in fourth, followed by Volunteer State. At 2-3, Jackson State, Southwest Tennessee, and Dyersburg State are tied for sixth. Winless Motlow State and Columbia State are holding up the women's cellar. On the men's side, the 3-2 Raiders are in a three-way tie for fourth place with Cleveland State and Walters State. Undefeated Dyersburg holds the top spot in the conference, followed by one-loss Chattanooga State and 4-2 Columbia State. At 1-4, Southwest Tennessee and Jackson State are tied for seventh. Motlow State and Volunteer State are tied for ninth with 1-5 records.
Welcome back to part two, or the second half of one-on-one. Joining me now is Hall of Fame head coach David Harnish. Coach Harnish, thanks for sitting down with us today.
I appreciate it. It's always an exciting time of the year, and I wish everybody a happy New Year and hopefully had a great Christmas. And the second semester is always an exciting time for every college basketball program. We get a depth of our conference play and the most important part of our season. And hopefully the kids have come back excited and ready to go.
Well, the Lady Raiders opened up the season, went on break with a 12-1 record, one of the best starts in program history. What are your keys to success moving forward into the second half of the season?
Well, I'm really excited about first semester. For us to be 12-1, and really could have been 13-1. We always kind of came into a situation where we always had kind of tough starts, and you always look back and try to figure out why that's a problem. And I think a little bit of our inconsistency in terms of our starting lineup. We've had a lot of injuries this year, a lot of kids, whether it's been concussions, and we lose Felicia early in the year, but I don't think we've had one consistent starting lineup other than probably the first 4 or 5 games. So I think that's really what's hurt us in terms of our consistent play, but definitely to be 12-1 and very excited to be 4-1 and believe in league play. It's definitely exciting times, and we still have our best basketball ahead of us, and I think if we come back healthy, we'll have a very strong showing and a very good chance to get after the regional tournament.
Well, with that statement you just made, right now you're one game out of first place. What's more important for you, to finish the season in first place, or to finish the season strong going into the tournament?
Well, it's a combination of both. Anytime, it's important for us to definitely take care of our home court and win every game there and try to steal some games on the road. But definitely, the highest seeding you can get is going to be very helpful, and it helps every year. And this year is really important since we have the regional tournament here at Roane State, and then we definitely want to play our best ball, and we haven't this year, and so that's exciting to be 12-1 and not really play our best ball, and that consistency that we're really looking for. So, I look at really great things for next second semester. I think the girls are really excited about it, and being able to host a regional tournament, we have to take advantage of that and do everything we can to make ourselves better and get prepared for that time.
Women's basketball at Roane State has a long history of success going back to the 70s and 80s and even into the early 90s, winning a national championship in 1984. You came here 4 seasons ago. You inherited a team with, on a good day, you had 6 players. You won 4 conference games. And then fast forward 2 seasons to last year, and you finished with a 20-win season, and it looks like you're on your way to that again this year. To what do you attribute the turnaround of this program?
Well, we're the only school in the state to win a national championship, and couldn't be more proud of the girls at that time and be part of that program in terms of being here at Roane State. And so there is a deep tradition here, and trying to get that back. And we're just trying to be consistent year in, year out, where we can try to compete for a regional championship. And, it was tough coming here, getting here late, being hired, didn't have a chance to recruit anybody. And I thought the girls that we had did an excellent job and put in the effort that they gave me. And I enjoyed really coaching them. I thought they did a great job. And then the next year, COVID hits, and we really didn't have a chance to get out and recruit. And I would say, honestly, this is probably the first team. Last year was all freshmen, but this is the first team I've had where I've had back-to-back recruiting years with my players. I think that fit my personality and fit the style that I want to play. And I think that attributes to, the wins on the floor. I think they believe in the system. They're willing to come in every day and work hard. And if you do that, and play with some effort and emotion, and believe in what you're doing, and you believe in the head coach, I think, that consistency and winning takes care of itself. But it's definitely the hard work, and the girls have definitely done that the last 2 years. Hard work, attributes to having a chance to be successful, and we've had that record-wise. So now we have to just take that next step and win a regional championship. A lot of people watching may not realize this, but you are the 7th winningest head coach in women's junior college basketball. You had last season, you won your 800th game over the summer. You were inducted into the NJCAA Women's Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame. And you just keep piling up these accolades. What does all that mean to you looking back over your career? Just consistency. I believe in what I'm doing, and I think the administration and the people around me, whether it's assistant coaches and players, you have to have all them, buy into what you're trying to do and just build a consistency. I think I've always been, very supportive of the kids that come in here and try to just, get them to develop and perform at their best. I hope they all go on to the next level, but it's just a matter of consistency and recruiting kids that, fit your personality. I think that's the biggest thing today and age is, I hope kids that come in here that have a good work ethic both on and off the floor. And if they're willing to do that, I think they fit my style. And so it's just a tribute of, year in and year out being consistent with the kids you recruit, having a good support system, whether that's, the administration, the athletic director, the other coaches that support your programs. And that's what I found in Roane State. And it's been a family-like year. And I think that, my success is tribute to, I think, the programs and the coaches and the administration and the community that support this program and make it easy for me to be successful. Coach David Harnish, thank you for sitting down with us today and for this little one-on-one session. We hope to have you back a couple more times before the tournament for the show. You're watching the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show, powered by Raider Vision. We'll be back after this short break.
There's a lot of action coming your way the next couple of weeks, and it all starts tonight as the Raiders host Experience Academy. Tip-off for that contest is slated for 7:30 p.m. On Wednesday, both teams return to conference action as the Raiders and Lady Raiders host Cleveland State. The women get underway at 5:30 p.m. The men will start around 7:30. On Saturday the 14th, the teams travel to Jackson State. The women's game begins at 2 Central with men's action following at 4. Wednesday the 18th will find the teams at Walter State before finally returning home to play Dyersburg State on Saturday the 21st. We'll be back with more of the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show, powered by Raider Vision, right after this.
Welcome back to the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show. This segment is where we get to feature an outstanding RSCC student athlete. Today, Matthew Cannon is in the spotlight.
Keep it up, Matthew.
Matthew is a member of our men's cross country and half marathon teams, and one could argue that he had a really good freshman year. In addition to being the program's first ever signee, the Harriman native currently holds the school record in men's cross country. He earned all region honors and qualified to participate in the NJCAA National Championships last November. Now, despite all his successes, his parents, Christy and Matt Cannon, say just the fact that he is able to run is a miracle in itself.
Matthew, like most of our kids, is adopted, and when he was born with a grade 4 brain bleed. That was because he was drug exposed and he was born prematurely. He was, how much did he weigh when he was born?
He was 10 weeks early and weighed 3 pounds and 4 ounces, and he dropped down to 2.8.
And they told us because of that grade 4 brain bleed that he is supposed to be and should have been profoundly disabled. Not supposed to be able to walk, talk, any of that. And as you can see now, he's running. He ran in a national championship with the Roane State cross-country team. Started running, I guess, when he was 13 or so.
When he was 21 months old.
Started running when he was 21 months old. He could walk and talk and going to school and run, and really, he's a miracle.
When he was 4 or 5, 6 years old, he'd just get out in the yard and run circles without being told, or you just go. That's just what he would do, just run around circles out in the yard. And then he played City League basketball and baseball. He played high school basketball 1 year?
One season, yeah.
His senior year. He's just always liked sports, and so he's just always participated in something. But the running is where he really has excelled at, and so that's what we've really just encouraged for him.
We didn't push sports on any of our kids. We wanted them to be active, and if they wanted to play, we wanted to give them an opportunity to do so. And he's always loved all sports. He's really a huge Atlanta Braves fan, but running is where he has really excelled.
At 5 years old, Matthew was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So he never was supposed to do this. So the overwhelming feeling of he's doing this. We were in Florida, and he's running with hundreds of other college athletes. So it was just an emotional, oh my gosh, he's really doing this.
He was really thankful to God. You know, whenever we found out that he was born, we already had his one of his birth siblings, and we were going to be able to take him in as a foster child and possibly adopt him. We started praying for him. We prayed for his ability to walk, his ability to talk. We prayed and we prayed and we prayed. And then to see
the day he was born.
From the day he was born.
He was born on a Friday, and they gave him a less than 1% chance of living till Monday. And we've gone round and round with several doctors who said that this was science, and it's not. It's answered prayers, and it's God, because our God's bigger than that. So that's just what he is.
You know, with me being a pastor and Matthew growing up in our home, you know, we talked about the Lord a lot. We prayed a lot. And to see him out there running, it's an answer to prayer, really. It's, you know, the Lord working in his life to allow him to be able to do something that they never thought he would be able to do.
What does Matthew think about all this?
Just the overall feeling of it. I just wanted to be involved in something like that because it just gives me a way of expressing myself through sports and expressing how I am able to do other stuff. So, yeah, that's about it.
While attending a career day at Roane State during his senior year of high school, Matthew saw a sign advertising the new cross-country team and he made it a point to reach out.
I just wanted to reach out to Coach Hall because it was a way of being able to run in college. Yes, sir. I just want to do better than I did last season. I want to get under 30. That's my goal for next season, and to be a positive role model for other people, like coming out of high school and going to college, and the other athletes that are joining the team next year. I just want to be a good leader for them and show them how it's done, basically. So.
Matthew and his teammates are currently training to also run half marathons this spring and next fall. As for the future, Cannon says his goal is to one day be an Olympic athlete. Matthew Cannon, a true miracle and 100% Raider.
Let's go, Cyclones! Hey, stay in the dark!
For many months, through various stages of construction, hundreds of cars each day have passed this building on Patton Lane at the Roane State Harriman campus. But what exactly is it? It doesn't look like your typical college building. The long story short, it's a field house for the Raiders baseball and softball teams, which gives our student athletes the opportunity to improve their skills year-round, no matter what the weather brings. Raiders Athletics Director David Lane says the facility was a long time in coming.
Well, this was something that when I came in 2006 was one of those projects that you knew you had to have it to get better. And so it's been a dream that baseball and softball I think have shared collectively for almost 2 decades. So it was one of those opportunities finally that our administration, Marsha Matthews, our CFO, and Dr. Whaley, really supporting athletics, and found a way that we were finally able to make this become a reality.
Roane State's most tenured head coach is softball's Jessie Hackworth, who tells us her team is already reaping the benefits of having an indoor facility.
Having the indoor facility is something that's been desperately needed for our program for many years. There's been a lot of hard work put into our program, and there's been a lot of growth and a lot of success from where we came from to where we are now, and we needed that next step. And that next step with the indoor facility has been a phenomenal addition for us. We've been able to take advantage of it all fall already. The things that we will be able to do with it during the spring, and all the availability that our players can have in the indoor facility for extra work, for small group work, for individual work, and team practices is something that you just don't see very often at our level.
Baseball coach Cam Hamsley says the building will help build the success of his program as well.
We really have created a standard now where not only do we say we have athletics, but we expect to be good at athletics. So, kind of that drive to put a winning product on the field. So obviously it's a game changer because nobody else, really that we compete against has anything like this to this extent. So obviously it's a game changer for our guys, and I'm excited for them. So it helps us put a winning product on the field.
Lane continued his remarks saying that the benefits of having the new field house are innumerable.
I think it serves multi-purposes. One, from a recruiting standpoint, this is on par or above what you would find in a lot of NCAA or NAIA schools. So the recruiting standpoint is huge. Also, just providing the best environment for our players to improve on a daily basis.
Head coaches Cam Hamsley and Jessie Hackworth understand the significance the space plays in their efforts to recruit the best players they can get and in putting a better product on the field.
I tell people to meet me at campus, and I walk them in the indoor facility, and usually you see their eyes light up, because it's special. For them, I think this is something that seems very attractive, where we say, like, hey, at Roane State, we're coming, and this is why, because we've made an investment in, our athletics programs at the next level.
Yes, 100%. We're already seeing that right now in our recruitment process. This place is magnificent. It's beyond what we could have imagined. To be able to give a player something that you see mainly only at higher NCAA levels, at the JUCO level, is, I mean, it's rare, and like I said, we're very appreciative of it. And just moving forward in the recruiting process is for these young student athletes to come in to see where they can grow, where they can get better, and how much our school and our college cares about their growth academically and athletically is vital.
The ribbon cutting for the new facility was held back on August 27th, along with a ceremony in which former baseball coach, softball player, and tennis coaches were inducted into the Roane State Athletics Hall of Fame. The facility will serve to help develop champions for many years to come. And that'll do it for this edition of the Roane State Raiders Coaches Show. We'll be back in 2 weeks where we will go one-on-one with head baseball coach Cam Hamsley and women's golf coach Bo Harris. Until then, Happy New Year and go Raiders.